Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to help on this issue. It's been a pleasure and an honor to work with you and the ranking member on this issue. I guess I want to just make one statement about sunsets. Regular reviews don't work in Congress. We have a regular review of our appropriations process, and we have a term for it. It's called shutdown. We have a regular review of a debt ceiling, and it's called almost defaulting. We have a regular review of many programs that we, as Congress, have authorized in the executive branch, and 1,400 of those programs are unauthorized. We still appropriate to. Regular reviews don't work. When there is something significant like FISA, we have a deadline accompanying that important program. We get our job done. Sometimes we have to kick it for a few months in order to get our job done, but we get our job done. It is holding the collective feet of Congress to the fire that allows us to get something done. A review just doesn't work. The can will be kicked down the road. We won't do our job. And more importantly, the men and women who are risking their lives won't have the support of Congress. It is too easy for members of Congress to go run around and say, I never supported that and I'm not going to appropriate money to it because we didn't do our job of reviewing it. So I would really ask that you reconsider your position on a sunset. It will certainly be something that I will be pushing for. But my question really is a little bit different, and that is, how does a terrorist group earn its way onto a list that gets targeted? What are the considerations? And I guess, Assistant Secretary Meyer, I'm directing this to you. In my mind, there are a few things. One, the group has explicitly sought to harm U.S. interests, whether they're personnel or embassies, or aided and abetted another group in that endeavor, or sworn allegiance to a group that is involved in that. But I'd love to know, and really this is the key to me to gaining the confidence of other members in Congress, that we are carefully considering this. It isn't just we saw something in a newspaper and decided to target a group.
Congressman Buck, it's a really important question, and I think we would look at it at the most basic as a group that has both the intent and capability to harm Americans, and by that we are talking individual American citizens. We often use broad sweeping terms like U.S. interest in the United States and the homeland, but we're talking about groups that have a consistent, sustained intent to harm Americans and also have the capability to do so. And then I think as we move past that, we apply really a policy test to look at those groups that we would add as associated forces or affiliates, those that are associated with the larger al-Qaeda and ISIS group. And there's really two tests to that. One is that it's an armed group, so meaning it has the capability and it has entered the fight against the United States aligned with al-Qaeda, which is going back to the core of how this 2001 AUMF started. And then the second is this group is a co-belligerent with al-Qaeda against the United States. And I think I already kind of covered that, but the intent has to be there to strike at the United States. So we go through extensive policy discussions on the executive side, informed by a whole host of information, a lot of it coming in, of course, classified, sir.
So I'm interested in, you use the word interest, and I guess capability is something that I'm interested in also. Obviously, we have embassies, we have a lot of American interests in other countries. The interest doesn't have to be attacking the homeland.
Correct, sir. Yes, we would look at it from the perspective of threats to Americans. Those can be official Americans working in embassies, but those can also be private citizens. And in fact, much of what we've seen al-Qaeda and ISIS focus on in recent years are soft targets. So those could be tourist locations, those could be businesses that are less protected because they're frankly easier targets.
I'd love your help.
Including overseas, yes, absolutely.
I'd love your help with trying to identify that in more specific terms. The one thing that we're great at is sort of giving broad discretion to the executive branch and then blaming the executive branch for abusing or using that broad discretion. I thank you for your answers, and I yield back.